Scott.
I'm Russell.
And I'm Leo. This is Spitball. Welcome to Spitball. We're three prototype prophets, that's us, and a guest to empty our heads of our startup and tech product ideas that we have stuck up in there so you can all have them for free. Anything that we say is yours to keep. And Scott, I believe you brought our guest this week. Is that right?
I do. I have brought Robbie. Robbie and I work together. We're at the same engineering company. Robbie's a project manager on the advanced product development team. He's been the fearless leader on many difficult engineering endeavors and has probably brought more projects from Napkin Sketch Life than anyone I know.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it.
This is going to be a good time. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
I'm looking forward to it.
This week, we're going to be doing another guest pitch like we have in the past. I know this is many months after the series has ended, but I'm still a little bit bitter that Josh Smalley, well, can we do spoilers for Great British Bake Off? Has it been long enough? I don't know. It's been about a year. Like
Warning,
8-9 months.
Spoilers, Great British Bake Off, right?
Spoilers for season 14 or series 14 if you're a true fan of British weird words for things. Josh Smalley, he was the runner-up this year. I mean, I think he should have won, but he's a chemist and he is way smarter than all of us, so we're going to have to bring up our intelligence level a bit.
Hi, Scott, Russell, and Leo. Obviously, coming from a scientific background, I think one that I've thought about would be pretty cool would be having like tailored medicines, even on an app form actually. So you'd have your all of your data on your DNA or from taken from a blood sample, for example, and then all of your your sequence, your DNA sequence, your allergens, your immunity, histories of diseases and things that you've had, and then everything about you. That's all going to be stored, so that if you were to have any illness or anything or any disease coming in the future, that they would be able to have a tailored treatment, drug, antibiotic that would be specific to you, or they would know how to make one to be tailored to you. So that's one thing I could foresee happening as a pretty cool tech thing, wouldn't it? And that's what my suggestion would be. So yeah, thanks for the question and enjoy discussing it.
So thanks, Josh. You're way too smart for all of us.
Whoa.
You can imagine
anything
a world
with a British accent is smart.
So true.
I think I got smarter just listening to him.
You can imagine a world where you take your 23andMe type kit, you ship it off, and a couple weeks later you get your pills in the mail that make you no longer make cilantro taste like soap because they've got CRISPR in them and they just sort of edit you up. I already don't trust 23andMe, and I haven't done those, so that's a whole new level.
Now I want them to mail me pills to modify my genetic code.
Right. It's a crazy idea.
The part I think he's onto it with is, when you think about like what is our generation's version of crazy historic medical procedures like lobotomies and things like that. When you tell your grandkids that we used to donate blood to each other or that we used to donate organs, they're going to be like, what are you talking about, dude?
Right.
And he's kind of onto it. He's like, there's a specific, medicine that you're going to get that will fight.
Did you know when you get a kidney donated, you just get the third kidney? They don't replace one.
I just learned that.
Isn't that crazy?
I never knew. They just shove another kidney up in there.
They just have a third kidney in their back. Yeah. Having the...
kind of makes sense.
Yeah. If we can, like you
squeeze
said,
one
maybe target drugs specifically for you. Seems like maybe we could have less of that. Exactly.
This was a movie, wasn't it? Gattaca.
Was this Gattaca? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit.
What happens in Gattaca? I haven't seen Gattaca.
It's like a dystopian future eugenics world where you can pick out all the traits that you want in a baby genetically ahead of time, and
designer babies
all the way through. And
CRISPR. What happens to can you spoil Gattaca for our audience?
Oh, I don't remember. This is
20
years ago.
That's the spoiler.
A guy,
a normal
Great
British
human.
Bake Off and Gattaca.
1997.
The cornerstones of modern culture.
Yeah, he goes to space.
Interesting.
That's the spoiler.
Yeah, I feel like the CRISPR designer babies discussion has been really ramping up in the last few years, and I'm sure we wouldn't have a ton of new ground to tread with saying like, oh, what if everyone else was making their babies smart in utero? Then you feel pressure to do it too because you don't want your kid to be, the one left out. Like, yeah, true, but also like, I don't know, what if you had a DNA dating app where you mail in your thing, and then they say, wow, you two are very compatible over on the other sides of the state that you live in or something.
Your DNA is compatible.
I don't
Dang.
know. Most people's DNA is compatible if you're, but you know what I mean, right?
How closely related to you are you to this other person, right? It's more of avoid the second cousin thing, you know?
It's anti-ancestry.com.
That's right.
Is there like a sweet spot though, where it's like fourth and fifth cousins is like optimal for everything?
You go into the app and you say, I pretty much want my kids to have these traits, and then they match you up with potential partners based off that.
Whoa. I mean, I feel like if there was other crazy people that were on that app too, like that would be exactly what they're looking for. It's like optimized. Like, I'm not here for money or love. I'm here for optimal children. It's just, that's not a love corner.
Ooh.
That's a
practicality.
Your pay scale goes according to the level of partner that you have for you.
There we go. Robbie, you're good
That's
at this.
dystopian.
You've been thinking about this a little bit too much, huh?
You guys, yeah. Oh, goodness.
How many kids do you have? No.
Yeah, I have 3 kids. That's probably the most unique perspective I bring to the show tonight is got 3 children.
No, I wonder if like something, I don't know if this is part of it, but like, let's say, my vision, right? Like, could I take a pill? Could that help me like cure my vision? Like laser eye surgery, sure. But like, maybe I just pop a pill with some DNA and CRISPR
Editing.
My gut is a lot of it is about predictive medicine versus what he's talking about, which is like specific medicine for you. But it's like being able to predict things that people run into too late. You guys hear about the lady that could like smell dementia or Parkinson's. That's right. She could smell Parkinson's like a year before people were diagnosed. It's like, it's going to be about predictive medicine, I think, and helping stop things before they happen.
I would take a pill that would give me that superpower.
Does it have to be pills? Could he like mail you?
You
a
would take a
biscuit that
pill
he
to help
bakes?
you smell Parkinson's?
Yeah.
I could think of a lot of other pills I'd take before I take that one.
True.
Thank you, whoever. What was his name?
Wow, genuine. Thank you very much, Josh.
Good thing we edited
Josh
this.
Smalley. Do you want me to say Josh Smalley? There you go. You can say it.
Thank you, Josh Smalley. Sorry. Okay.
So natural. So
Do
natural.
a real one.
Thank you, Josh, for sending that in. It was really informative. I can't.
That was great.
Be in
Just
season
edit it
15.
later.
Yeah, fix it in post. Make Leo fix it.
That's right. Yeah, AI. Just AI it.
His name is Leo Russell.
Yo, that's right.
Al, our editor.
Leo, let's hear your best idea ever. Let's go.
Robbie, we don't know each other super well, but I've been told you are hardware engineer first and foremost. So your job today is to tell me why this can't exist. So soldering iron goes from 0 degrees Celsius, not 0 degrees Celsius, room temperature to hundreds and hundreds of degrees Celsius pretty dang fast. I would love to have a switch on my dashboard to make my windshield wipers get several hundred degrees Celsius right away so that I could ice scrape in a couple of seconds. Why is that not a thing that I can already do? Other than, the lawsuits and the danger and the
fire hazards.
The bird that you solder and fry, because it landed on your windshield. Isn't there why don't windshield wipers have heaters? We live in the Midwest here where we get ice scraped on and you either have to scrape it by hand with a piece of plastic, which sucks, or you spray it with de-icer and you sit as you drag plastic and rubber across it as it slowly chips away with your car defroster on high. Why can't my windshield wipers do this? They are little scrapers.
I actually don't hate that as an idea at the outset. I mean, rubber is your first, that's standing in your way, right? You want to be gentle with your glass and don't want to scratch your glass. And so you're replacing that rubber with something. But I had a couple times in college where I let my wipers get stuck to the windshield with ice, and then they snap off, and then you got to stop at Panera Bread and wrap a cardboard coffee thing around the end of the metals.
This is a very common Midwest occurrence.
Been there.
Have you guys been there? Have you guys been there? So I'm a buyer before I'm a seller on this idea. I'm not going to lie to you, though. There are some, when you talk about the electrical connection and the atmosphere and environmental.
Just throw another battery in the car. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in your passenger
Just
seat.
for your...
There are lots of ways to make things hot quickly with electricity, but I don't know what things you can do that moderately. So, like, we don't need to get to hundreds and hundreds of degrees Celsius, obviously, to just melt water. What would it take to, or melt ice, right?
Scott, you know this, the bag sealer, the plastic bag sealers. Okay.
That's not a bad idea.
How do those work?
It's just a metal wire,
Mhm.
I think, that runs electricity through it. And you can set the gauge, right? It's like, it's really
Jank.
like 0 to 1. It's like janky. But it's a long metal sponge thing that like kind of, you press it down, it seals a bag, and you lift it up.
This guy.
They have this for vacuum sealers and all that other stuff. Throw that in the end of the windshield, plug it into your car battery.
Yeah, they
That's
look
all.
like
I'm done.
the paper cutter that was in the back of the classroom that you could behead a cow with, and somehow they just left open for all the kindergartners to play with.
Now we just need to run electricity through it.
I mean,
Heat it up.
And here's the thing: do you really need it? You need the wiper to sit in the right spot, and realistically, you need to like warm up a 3 to 4 inch radius hole for you to see through. If we're all honest, and if you haven't had your ice scraper and you used a credit card in your wallet,
Yep.
you don't do the whole windshield. You do enough to see out of to start the driving process, and I feel like we could accomplish that.
100%.
very quickly. And we already have the prototype, Scott. It's right in your hands. We just got to figure out how to plug it into your car battery, glue it to a windshield.
It's crazy to me that we have the rear windshield defroster with the lines that are going through the glass is so efficient and it works so well. And then in the front, we just like blast it with cold air that very slowly warms up and a hope. It seems so
For
inefficient.
some reason, you're not willing to sacrifice the black lines, right?
No, I don't.
Talladega Nights. This is very distracting, but I do love Fig Newtons.
You know, I personally probably would.
You
But
guys remember that?
Yes.
I personally would take the lines on the front if it was an option, but I get that there's probably 100 laws and codes and regulations why that's
Just
not
make the lines
cool.
clear. Come on.
If we can't heat the glass, heat a stick and drag it along it. What if it's even just a separate thing from the windshield wiper that is a similar, motion?
What if you could plug it in from the inside and then you just like press it against the windshield in the right spot?
Transfer the heat through
That's
the glass.
fun. Yeah. There's like a perfect line just sort of steaming off from the outside. I like that.
Yeah.
How hot can you get before the glass starts to melt a little bit?
Pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be good.
What if you got like what are those electromagnetic stoves?
Induction stoves.
Induction. Does water get heated by induction? Could you just throw an induction, like press it against the glass and just be like, send it, heat this water up?
There are videos of people throwing boiling water on their icy car and it just shatters the glass windshield. So there is like a rapid temperature change problem, but
Too fast is a bad thing. Yeah.
Man, they should fix windshields then. That's not my problem. That's I sell the product that fixes the problem, the ice.
I wonder if you could like heat your de-icer though, liquid, like just make it scalding hot and then just spray boiling antifreeze all across your windshield.
You just unlocked a core memory for me. My dad had a car that had that. It was a heated reservoir, a small little bit that would do that. And after a year, there was a recall, and he took it in to get the recall fixed, and they disabled it permanently.
Yeah, because that's a crazy idea. Those parts are all plastic.
Yeah.
My thought was you run what you're talking about. You run it through the A-pillar that is like the metal part that goes on the side of your windshield. That's metal. And so you do have some leeway there to run some hot water or hot material if you want to. That's like the edge of your windshield, but it gives you some leeway to be able to like look in the right way, in the right area and drive.
I would love to watch dribbling, boiling hot de-icer go through ice. That would be just art every morning.
If you do it cool enough, people are going to sit and watch it anyways, right?
And then some idiot's laying on the windshield in their high school parking lot and saying, hit it. And then the lawsuit comes.
Outside of a Panera.
Okay, this is a throwback. What if we did like salt, just like salts, or chemical? Is there like chemical
I think you got some corrosion
that
issues.
you could throw at it?
Antifreeze?
That's not antifreeze. Antifreeze doesn't work, I think, that well, right? Like something that melts.
It's called
fast.
anti-freeze. It makes the ice stop being so frozen.
Oh, I thought it's like
No, you're probably right.
antifreeze prevents the freeze versus melting,
No, I'm
right?
sure you're
I
right.
guess I'm wondering.
Hmm.
Like, I like your heated water idea, Leo. I wonder if you could like really salty water, very, boom.
You do have rust issues there.
What if you could? This is the crazy idea. I'm left field now, but what if you could create like a whole like a pool that you fill up with hot water? You like build a barrier that you fill up with hot water, and then you let that quickly melt the ice, and then you just dump all the water out over your car. So it's not so much about applying hot water to your car, but it's about creating like a little bathtub that melts the ice really quickly, and then you get rid of all the water.
Like your entire car is enclosed, or just around the windshield?
No, like you
Just dunk underwater.
like what if you could just bring bring up some walls around your windshield that make like a little pocket of hot water, and then you just fill that with water, and once the ice is gone, then you release it all.
Like those old-timey hot water bags that you put at the foot of the bed, but
Yeah, you got
but
it.
on the windshield. That's fun.
The walls can't come up because there's so much ice.
That's true. Yeah, ice always gets in the way.
If cars can have
the
airbags, they
ice
can
problem.
have hot water bags built in. You just press the button and it sprays all over it. That's great.
Ooh, okay. I don't know why I'm just thinking.
That's why this is called spitball.
Could you vibrate your windshield so rapidly that would make all the ice fall off without it
Like break apart in chunks.
just play some
Supersonic.
AC/DC
Without
into
breaking
the
the window?
windshield and just find the right frequency?
What if northern cars have a northern like layer on their windshield, and you can just hit "I'm over ice"? You hit a button on your dash, and the top layer of your windshield
off.
just like peels off. And you're like, hey, I've got another layer below
You buy
this.
disposable
Like a screen protector?
Yeah. You buy 20 disposable windshield layers.
One pack
And you
gets
just
you through the
refill
You have
it.
an
winter.
Ontario screen protector on your
That's
windshield.
fun. I like that a lot.
I think I would buy a 10-pack, stick it on my windshield in the beginning of winter, and just whatever.
Or
right?
even the ice storm is
Send it.
overnight tonight, so I'll just do it.
Yeah.
Or you buy a garage, but we're all in the the city here.
Can't afford garages.
That's a whole building.
Wow.
Someday I hope I have a garage instead of a podcast.
The garage. The modern day solution. It's just no, this doesn't solve for the parking lot, the car, the you're at work, Like, I guess I'm wondering if I could like crack open like a can of salt water. I just like have 10 in my car, crack it
Pour
open.
it over it.
Fire extinguisher. Just
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Sure. Something like
Yeah.
that,
the high pressure
Flamethrower.
one-time use.
Little gasoline, I guess.
A little
What am I
butane
thinking?
torch.
And then you have your recurring revenue because they're disposable. So you got your under pressure saltwater canister that you crack open, one-time use. Recycle the aluminum cans.
There are absolutely days that I would go out there and I'm in a hurry and I have to de-ice the whole car. And if I could just crack something, and even if it cost me to just make it a fraction of the work, I would absolutely use
Well, you've
that.
seen those things that they use to de-ice planes, right? They got
Yeah.
those giant blasters that they're raising and lowering, shooting all over them. I want one of those, really. Yeah.
What about like hand warmers? Like what is the chemical in there?
The reusable ones?
Could I just like crack it open and then dump it all over the car and then just, all right, in 3 minutes I'll be whatever. I'm just driving.
There's the ones that are like the one-time use, like sand silicate stuff. And then there's ones that are a crystal that you like flip a coin, you break a coin in there and you can reuse
Yeah.
them.
It's so true, though. It's
Either
like
one of
the
those.
3 times you need it in the winter. It's like the time when you're under the gun from a timing
Mhm.
perspective, and there's a bunch of ice in your windshield.
Yep.
I'd pay for that.
I'm gonna buy. Let's try this out, Leo. We're gonna buy some heating pads,
I love it.
A heated blanket.
iPad screen protectors. You get like a pack of 30 for like $10. Stick them on the windshield and just
Big old layer.
uh,
Needs a pull tab at the end.
yes, everyone, right?
Yeah.
What is the name of your idea, Leo? What do we come up with? Like,
Well, it started with soldering iron windshield wipers and ended with a lot of different not that ideas. So I guess the aircraft de-icer, but home edition. That's what I really want. I want a little ride on aircraft de-icer that I'm just spraying my car with, like a little lawnmower thing. All right, Scott, what do you got for us this week?
All right. So current company I'm working at right now has a program where they take engineers in the program and they spread them all over the company They call it the RISE program, where it's essentially a version of cross training, where you take these engineers and for the first 6 months, you're going to be working on the manufacturing line. And then the next 6 months, you're going to be working on logistics. And the next 6 months after that, you're going to be in the R&D department. And they just keep moving these people around to give them like this full breadth of knowledge of the inner workings of the company. And there's all these stats and things with it about how they make just such good employees afterwards. And they really enjoy the program. And it's just all around a good thing. And I'm wondering, is it possible to create a program like this for getting introed into real world jobs, I guess? So like instead of going to college, you come right out of high school and you go in this multi-industry job rotation program that's going to help you test out all these different various career paths so that you can kind of settle into that long-term role eventually. And I keep throwing this idea out in my mind. There's a lot of little hurdles that you got to get through. But I feel like if I had an opportunity right out of school to work as like in a restaurant and then work for 6 months and then work as like a banker for the next 6 months after that, I would just have a much better perspective of the world and whether the grass is greener or not in other places. And so I'm thinking, can we make some kind of umbrella company that partners with a bunch of different industries? You get paid a flat salary throughout the program. And by the end of it, you come out with a lot more real world experience. And then you could add other things.
Local businesses get interns.
Yeah, exactly. It could be through interns. It could be, honestly, interns would be a great thing for that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's really interesting, Scott. I feel like a lot of post grads from high school too would love to figure out that, not like take a full gap year or two doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They live with their parents still, probably. They're not going to invest in a bunch of credits that they don't want to use. They'd go into college knowing what they want to do. Like, that would be huge.
And you could tailor it to, I want to hit these 8 rotations over the next year or 2 years or something that you think could be interesting. And maybe
my thought is before college is when it makes the most sense. Is like you think about like a redshirt athlete in college is the person who takes a year off and really like plays on the team but learns how to play. And it's the same kind of thing here where it's like, I always tell people I went into engineering because I was good at math and science in high school. And I figured, hey, this seemed like an interesting thing to start. And if I decide to do something different along the way, I'll do it. And I never really found an interesting enough a reason not to do engineering. But it was like, I didn't opt out when, if you had a program like what you're describing, I would have been able to opt into something more intriguing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, you should, I mean, you throw this on in colleges, like your first year, it's a 5-year program, let's say, or maybe it could be a 4-year program because you're saving all you don't need to figure out your first year anymore, which is just like figuring out life. You just try things out.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the college program. It's what makes them different, you know? I think that would be awesome.
The big thing with this program and the company was all about, they really vet the people ahead of time and they make sure that they're go-getters and willing to put in work and they're excited about new possibilities going through. So
Yikes.
My high school in the Genesee County on the other side of the state had an option, what they called the Skills Center, where you could choose instead of, I think it was 1 or 2 credits in the middle of every other day, you would go to another place, like a 20-25 minute drive away, where other area schools also sent some students, and it was like an on-the-job internee apprenticeship type thing. They had a few different programs like car mechanic and cosmetology and a few other things. Instead of taking classes, you just kind of...
Mechanic's a good one.
It was a half step above like wood shop, where you were actually doing something a little more career-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like even high schoolers would benefit from what you're talking about, where like... you can opt in where instead of taking 8 classes or 6 classes, you take 5 or 1 or 2 less. And then every day, every other day, you go and do this.
Yeah.
You're just at the bank for, 3 days a week for a couple hours. That's a great way to it's sort of like the concept of like the 100 level classes at college where you I'm going to take intro to psychology to see if I like the idea of psychology majors. Oh, that wasn't for me at all. I'm going to take survey of engineering, to see if that's for me, but like on the job. That's super cool.
But at college, it costs you thousands of dollars, right? Where it's if you can do it at a company and still add value to the company, you get paid a little bit for it, right? So it's like, I don't know, if I run a bank and I have somebody that's at least willing to learn about banking, even if they're changing light bulbs where they're around the bankers, they still get a chance to learn and they're doing value add work. And so it creates that win-win relationship.
You could also time it like for different industries seasonally. Like this restaurant happens to gets crazy packed in the summertime. So we're going to have our program rotation during the summer or something. So we have that extra staff.
This seems like a feature that a temping agency could just like tack on to what they already do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, instead of me just sticking you in this place for a 5-year contract doing coding or whatever, or accounting, you are like rotated around. They already have the connections. They've got the supply of people to send around. Win-win. Yeah. The companies are kind of knowing they're getting someone short-term, so they plan a variety of things as part of like the agreement with the agency.
Yeah, I think the value add though, like, would you want an engineering intern that you have trying to doing work for you every 4 weeks come in and you teach them everything, and then by the time they're ready to do something, like,
the training aspect on that is you don't want to have to retrain every single time.
But if the only goal is to get them to know what's happening at the business, is like when I applied for my internship, the company told me, one of the questions I had in my interview was, hey, would you be willing to change the light bulbs if you came here as an intern? And I was like, yeah, as long as I get to hang out next to the engineers and learn what they're doing in engineering, for sure. And it's a little bit of that, right? Where it's like, I'll take out the garbage as long as I get to hear what the guy is talking about that does the thing. Then I'll hang out there for a while, especially if you give me, whatever, $15 an hour or whatever the case may be.
It is so hard to get the day in the life, like summary of what some of these career paths are.
When I was in high school, it was going to be engineering, or the other thing my skills told me I would be good at was sports statistician. And I was like, well, I love sports. I would totally be down to be a sports statistician. And then come to find out that, the world of computers were going to take over sports stats. And that would have been a terrible decision by me.
Yeah, or the job's like there's like 10 or 30 gurus and statisticians that beat the computers or make the algorithms, right? You got to be one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't going to be that guy.
Sounds like you're well poised to be the programmer of the statistician software. You are the engineer that builds the next great algorithm. Yeah.
Scott, this is a really interesting, cool. Did you come up with this yourself? Like,
this is at where I'm currently contracted out to right now. They have this internally, and I just am watching these young engineers go through this program and how happy they are and excited to go to the next rotation. And what do I get this time? But they still have a comfortable living. They're still on salary through the whole time. So there's no stress about job changes. It's just learning, and they love it because they're just there to learn.
Whoa.
I want to bring that into real life, though. Take away all the scariness of job changing so you can actually experience that.
Dude, this is great. Like, we should make this, Scott. This is like, or somebody needs to build this one. Like, if somebody already has the resources, the capabilities, like this is just an add-on to what they already do. I think the market could be flooded for this because you have your temp agencies, you have your colleges, you have your high schools.
Here's the deal. Would colleges pay for this? If you went through this program between high school and college, let's say there was a semester where you go through this program. It's like, would colleges be willing to offer some payback for you putting people through this program and validating the fact that they're going to be a good college student?
That's a great idea.
It's almost like a study abroad program, but just here. Yeah. Like an added on service.
There's tons of grants that we use at our company too for training and stuff that like the state of Michigan will pay for you to take X classes and whatnot. I'm sure that there's ways that you could finagle the language so the government could pay for chunks of this.
Yeah, I think the Career Development Center or whatever, the one responsible for putting jobs in front of you, right? I feel like that's part of the value add for colleges. I think there might be like the more people that get into the front door, when they leave a college, they're more likely to, maybe there's some sign-on bonuses or something for that. Like
these companies could recruit right out of the program too. Like, hey, you're good at this. I think you'll be great. I'll pay you this much salary. Just ditch this program and come work for me right now. It's like a way to interview people live without any obligation.
It's the internship to employee pipeline, but you get the rotating buffet like you're at a sushi restaurant with the conveyor belts of employees coming by.
I don't want to get too high level, but it's like it speaks to where the world's moving to, right? Where it's like you used to need the 4-year degree to get to the finish line, but there's so many ways to gain knowledge nowadays where if you had a program like this and a company that's willing to help you kind of along the way, you're 90% of the way there to knowing what you need to know.
Yeah, and you have the relationships to like talk to as you're going through college. Like I mean, I feel like the college academia bubble's bursting soon, like
shrinking.
Like remote schooling is becoming more popular. You're like
trade schools.
Trade school. Yeah, this will be interesting. You know, you may launch it, and then by the time you launch it, the whole landscape changes. But
let's disrupt the industry, guys. Disrupt higher education. Come on.
Hey, Billy, do you want to study abroad in Italy, or do you want to work in the back of a restaurant for the next 30 years?
That's a pitch.
All right, Russell, what do you got this week?
All right. So, a little about me. I have a 3D printer, and it goes unused a significant amount of time, we'll say.
So say we
and it just, I mean, I feel like if you own a 3D printer, you kind of have this like love it and you use it all the time, and you pause and you kind of let it sit and you're like, what do I print? I don't know. The world's my oyster, but I have no shells to oyster from. Okay, that's not a world is my oyster, but I just don't know what crackers to put on it. Anyways, that's not the analogy I'm looking for. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, it's the 3D printer community
3D
for those,
lingo.
I'm sure. Yeah, everybody that is listening to this podcast knows about the 3D printer community. So basically, they're really popular. These new ones are really good and really easy to work with. And I guess now you have hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe dozens of us out there that have 3D printers. Or hundreds of thousands of us that just let it sit. It sits around. And I would love to, let's say, be a part of a network that allowed me to use my 3D printer for things that would contribute to something, whether that's manufacturing products for a nonprofit, a for-profit, or whatever. And there's some give and take sort of scenario for this, right?
I see where you're going.
If I dial in my printer and maybe I work with this company and set the profile, like there's a lot of ways to really automate this.
You get some credits to like spend into the network if you need extra parts.
Whoa.
Yes. Or they send me a spool of filaments, maybe half a spool, and I have to print a certain amount of parts. And it gets sent to some QA facility or whatever to make it happen, right? And now you have like really cool mass manufacturing at prototype manufacturing, we'll say, at scale to meet like a demand for 100 pieces. Like Scott, your Idle TC product, right? Like you could post it to the network, and anybody that has these filaments and all these other things can send you, you know, or somebody might buy the filament because I'm like, oh, I want that marble filament, but I don't have a reason to. So I will print 3 LTCs, make half my money back. And now I've got like
make all your money back at that.
A discounted spool, right? Yeah, there's some shipping stuff and challenges, but now it's kind of like tapping into this network of builders, you know, wanting to support each other too, that can use their 3D printer for something else than a piece of furniture.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for an injection mold tool, but I also don't have the ability to print, you know, 1,000 of these at home. I could just tap into this network, have them printed all across the country. They ship it to a central facility, and then I get a box with my 1,000 prints in it, all for much less of the price than the injection mold tool.
It's Uber for shapeways.
Uber for shapeways.
Yeah, I think the shipping logistics gets expensive.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of plastic stuff's pretty lightweight. Most of these places go by weight. It wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, you're probably shipping regardless, right? So it's like you have the discount and shipping cost. You also have the fact that 3D prints can do stuff that like tooled parts can't do. You can print things that you can't do with plastic injection mold, and so that's like an extra value add. I think it's a huge win.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good. Nice.
The print in place stuff that you can get where like all the pieces are already snapped together and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a meeting with a client recently, actually, and we were talking about doing, it was metal parts, but we were talking about doing like metal castings or, you know, how do you do forged parts? And he goes, what if we 3D printed it in metal? And I was like, well, we haven't really worked in 3D printed metal. And he goes, well, I'm partnered with a company that does 3D printed metal. Would you be willing to look into that? I was like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. Like if you had access to three of those organizations, now all of a sudden you could hit your numbers with 3D printed metal parts. And now even metal parts are not off the table. So I think the world is kind of at your fingertips on this one.
Is this on the blockchain then?
Got my print coins.
Yeah.
I earned some print coins by letting my printer churn out whatever something sent to it. And then now I can spend my print coins to make someone else make stuff. That's fun.
And the thing is, if people got paid for it, if people got paid to utilize their printers, now all of a sudden they're incentivized, like you say, to purchase a printer where they weren't before.
Mm-hmm.
Like how your Tesla's going to make money because it'll go around and be a robotaxi when you're not using it.
Yes.
Any day now, Elon.
You're saying blockchain? It reminds me. It makes me think that it's kind of blockchainy, right? It's like, oh, there's a network of prints. I buy. I'm like, all right, I'm going to claim 3 of these, print them, send it. It's maybe the tokens or the dollar amount or whatever is up in the air, but maybe that's a thing.
Minting the coin is something. Yeah, you only mine when your printer is actually doing physical work.
I don't know about the coin part, but yeah, I guess
it just screams crypto for some reason. I don't know why.
Right? Decentralized manufacturing, right? That's our company title.
What about maybe like farmer co-op, but printing? Maybe give it a little more wholesome bent than blockchain crypto, bro.
Yeah, we've kind of burned all those buzzwords in the last couple of
organic
years.
printing farms.
Organic printing farms made with real organic
free
plastic.
range, grass fed.
This is a free range 3D print.
That's right.
Well, PLA is made from corn, right? I may be a simple man working on the printer farm. It's not much, but it's honest work.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I think a lot of like the 3D printing community too is deep in the figuring out how to create models to get cheap print filaments. And there's just like a lot of like that, how there's 1% of people that have 3D printers have like 10 or 15 of them. And so they're printing random stuff. I think they would benefit the most and also be the biggest earners, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Scott,
Print coin whales.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like, would you, or like, I guess in our day, would we have used this, or like, would you use this now? Like, if Idle TC could just like produce 13 of them, outsource.
If I had the sales for that I would like need to get multiple printers, then I would absolutely consider that.
Well, in the ring cam days, I remember going over and you guys would just have that one printer doing its 4 little special brackets that you needed over and over and over.
That poor printer.
Someone would walk by it and scrape off whatever just finished and start the same job again over and over. If you could have that one part printed, 200 times across the nation by everyone doing one job and sending it to you, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be a lot faster than one $200 printer bot printing straight for 4.5 years.
I'll say too, like my oldest son is really into Pokemon right now, and he's discovered the value of generative AI, and so he's been making his own images of his own creations of Pokemon and like writing in Microsoft Word the descriptions of them. And for his birthday, and I'm hoping this episode doesn't air before his birthday comes because I've bought him his Pokemon cards, like I had them custom made.
Genius.
But if I could have like a 3D print of his like Pokemon creations that I could just source, I don't have a 3D printer at my house, but if I could do that, even that, like as a one-off, would be super intriguing to me. And so if that's like so readily available that you could just send an order and have a one-off print, I think that's a whole new market that opens up because of this.
And yeah, Shapeways and a few others exist where it's the business that has the industrial machines for this, but there's something wholesome about it being like the guy down the street.
Yeah,
you're
totally.
kind of peer-to-peering.
What is the closest 3D printer I could get access to? Oh, it's like 8
good.
houses down from me.
Yeah.
Saves on shipping costs. You can just drop it off at some point or pick it
That
up.
was something that the elephant in the room for me the whole time was, oh man, there's so much more like carbon wasted by making all this stuff jet across the country. Like, can we somehow make local? That's the sell. You send it to the network and they say, yep, down the street. I'll meet you downtown on my lunch break, or come on by my house. It's on the porch. Yeah, I
That's
love
so
that. Then you
smart.
learn about your neighbors a little more too.
This is like a real thing with like just regular printers. The print.me, do you know what I'm talking about?
Send my boarding pass to my neighbor.
I don't own a printer anymore. When you desperately need a printer, you go to Simpatico Coffee, Okay. And they have a booth called Print Me, and you pay $10 and you print up. Yeah, it's the minimum amount to print one piece of paper so that I can get this thing signed. Right.
Wow.
Spin on that.
They better notarize it too.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, in a way, it's validated with this regular piece of paper printing. You can kind of take that same aspect. They got a map. You can see where the printers are, and you can go to a co-working space or a coffee shop or whatever. You can apply that. I love that. The local idea of, there's 30 3D printers in your area willing to print your print. Here are the prices. Here's their ratings, right? Like you can do all that stuff. What printer they have if you want to get in details of it. But I mean, shoot. Like Scott would beat me every day on that system because he's got the AMS and he's got the killer 3D printer. I got like I'll undercut him on price, but
he mints more coin than you, more print coin on the blockchain.
I guess too, it makes me think, what if I could buy direct? For example, you're going on these websites and you're looking to get a 3D print model. Rather than like trying to figure out how to download and print, there's a button that's just buy now. You click it on every site that hosts a bunch of these 3D prints.
That's cool.
Buy now, and then it lists it in the network, and somebody could claim it and then ship from my print.
And it's an auction system where, like, I love the claiming idea. You put the thing out there, there's a 30-day or whatever. You say how urgently you need it, and then people can like wait for the price to slowly go down.
Whoa.
And then they bid on it, and they get like however many coins for printing that thing for you, and then you get like a natural market. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, something like that, right? Like that would be cool.
No, I was thinking, but
I mean, yes.
I love that though, Leo.
That went way better than what I was originally thinking. So I'm all about it.
You know what I mean, though? Like you go and you say, I want to do this job. My maximum I'd pay is this much money. And then it slowly like lowers until someone claims it. And then that's how much it's worth to them, you know? That's cool.
Dude.
Like a reverse auction. I would use something peer-to-peer co-op that benefits my neighbor instead of once in a while I do ship off. Like I designed dog tags for my dogs years ago and 3D printed a couple of prototypes. I liked how they looked, sent it to Shapeways to get it printed in metal. And it was, $30 or $40 to get each one of them. So not the cheapest option, but it's kind of wholesome to have like the thing that I know that I made, right? And I totally would send that to the business that lives in my town that just happens to have one of those that they're not using right now. That's really cool.
So during the height of COVID, I got on a web call with a friend of mine, and he was helping my son experience 3D printing. Was like this kind of experiential because we're all locked in our houses, can't experience it. So he said, I'm going back to the Pokemon thing. He said, hey, draw a Pokemon and I'll 3D print it for you. And he drew a Pokemon, and he was like maybe 6 at the time. And it was a poor drawing, and he got 3D printed, and my son saw the 3D print, and it was that moment where you're like, this is incredible. Like he gets to see his creation be turned into reality. And he looked at me and he said, hey Dad, why are my drawings so bad?
There's a lot of revelations in that day.
Childhood innocence shattered. Yeah.
Robbie, let's hear it. Let's hear your best idea ever.
Yeah, man. I've got a few of them, but I'm a physical product guy, so I'm going to hit you guys with a physical product idea that you can riff on a little bit.
Excellent.
A couple Genesis stories here. So one is my kids. I have 3 of them. I mentioned that maybe earlier. Always, they get really into kind of the pop culture and social media and the YouTube personalities, and I don't want to hurt the viewership of Spitball here, but if there's any popular YouTubers watching right now, I'm sorry. They all put out total crap when it comes to like Christmas gifts and things like that. You can buy like a mystery ball, and it's a big plastic ball, and it has plastic bags inside, and the plastic bags inside have crappy plastic toys, and they sell it for $50, and it's like $5 worth of stuff. And they ask for it. It's like, I'm trying to be a good dad, so I'm going to buy it. But ahead of time, it's not going to be worth its weight, right? And so that's one moment. And then the second moment is I've done this a number of times, and my kids get Christmas gifts. And then we clean out the toy room in order to make room for the new crap that we just bought for Christmas. And in cleaning out the toy room, they discover a toy that they had 2 or 3 years ago they haven't touched. And that turns into the toy they play with for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I just bought hundreds of dollars worth of new Christmas toys. Now we have the old one. So my idea is this: a large toy box that holds all the kids' toys over the past X amount of time. And when you hit a button on the toy box, it presents you with one toy from the past. And you can pick it up and play with it. You can vote on it and say, I like this toy or I don't like this toy. And if you vote that you don't like it, it puts it in a recycle bin. And if you do like it, it puts it back in the I will play with this later bin. And it actually sorts
the trapdoor underneath
your toy room for you. I think the MVP for it is all downvoted toys go into a box, all upvoted toys go into their own holding compartment, and then it presents it for you. I think there could be nuanced ways to deal with it in terms of the amount of times things get downvoted. You could do like the Pandora system where you get a certain amount of downvotes at a time.
Or it's how long it spent out. Like this one, wow, you guys got like 4 weeks out of this one, where that one was only, you got bored out of it after 2 days.
Totally.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is I want a toy box that separates out the bad toys I need to get rid of and upholds the good toys so we pull them out at the right times and I don't have to buy junk for my kids every Christmas.
Robbie, this rules. I have a 4 and 2 year old also, and we have a thing where about every week, maybe every 2 weeks, we do a toy rotation, quote unquote. We're getting rid of all the trains. They're going away for many months. We're going to get new stuff out of the closet, and we have like a subset of stuff out at any given time. The kids feel less overwhelmed, and we get that effect you're talking about often. When we're about to like, oh God, I'm going to be gone at a conference for 4 days, or oh man, the kids are sick, or whatever it is, let's just do a rotation, and we'll get that like immediate hit of a new thing they haven't seen in a while, and it always works. Productizing that is genius.
A toy bin with a kid sitting in front of it, swiping left or right like Tinder, like
slapping it.
No Power Rangers, yes train
on the iPad.
Are we training the kids for Russ's left corner?
That's right. Do you love this toy or do you not?
This Marble Run set is 3.5 stars. Yeah.
I think the ideal version of it though is some version of, the useless mechanism where it's like you put something on top of the box and then you hit the button and like a hand comes out and grabs it, or like the finger comes out and like hits the off button. Yeah, it's like it is kind of that thing where it's like you put something on the toy box and then you hit a button and then it grabs it and pulls it away. And based on how you vote on it, it like sorts it in different areas.
Whoa. A reverse vending machine.
Yeah,
that's genius.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And then when they hit the button and they're like, I want a new toy, then it kind of does what you say, Leo, or it like gives them something new and interesting maybe they haven't seen for a year or 6 months.
It's doing the sorting algorithm of like, here's one that I know you haven't touched in a long time. Let's see how well it works. What do you rate it? Yes or no, thumbs up. How long do you actually keep it out? Yes, that's great. It's kind of like the book idea. So a couple episodes ago, I pitched a Smarter Bookshelf, where like it would keep track of what books where I know they get put away and how often I've taken them out to read them and stuff. I also want this with my closet. I haven't mentioned this as a pitch, but this is something that's been on my list. I want exactly what you're describing, but every shirt, pants, sweatshirt that I own has like an NFC tag on it or something, and I know how long it's been since I've worn it, and I don't wear that shirt very often, so I can get rid of it. I want the toy bin, but for knowing I actually don't wear that shirt.
Yeah.
Scan yourself as you walk out each day. I like that.
You wear that sweatshirt every 3 days.
So you throw like NFC tags or barcodes on a toy, right? And every time they take it, they just scan upvote, the upvote scanner and the downvote scanner, right? And now you have a log of all your barcodes and your inventory tracker. Like,
I don't even know if you need like NFC tags on it. I was just with Robbie the other day and we were at like this little kiosk. You could purchase food in this building and there was no attendant there. It was just like a platform and you put whatever food you wanted to purchase on it and it instantly rang it up with a camera system and said, here's your total, swipe here. You could do this all with cameras.
Oh, I guess that's true. Huh? You just throw an old smartphone on it, run the app, and just maybe run that.
Or like a self-checkout when you go to pick the produce. TRA, train set, got it.
And is there a way to do like an exchange or something on the back end where like all of our bad toys now just get put in boxes and like, given away for free or donated? But it's like, if you have the same system as other people, could you say, hey, our kids think these toys are garbage, your kids think these toys are garbage, but I think my kid would actually like,
based
I'd like
on
to
the
try
data
that.
of what they like, because you have all of that now. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's like Storazon, but for kids.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, Russell pitched an idea that I haven't stopped thinking about, where you've got your own storage unit, but you don't know where it is. And instead, it's like things get whisked away and inventoried, and you can check them back out from your own library of stuff, but they're just being stored away.
To you by Prime.
And delivered to you in 2-day shipping. Yeah. You have Fisher Price is my first Storazon.
Guys, I have
great.
On my ideas list, toy rotation shared. A shared toy rotation where you literally, I didn't want to say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Clearly this is
it's
it.
Like you send it to the network of share economy, right? And it's like you have your toy library, right? And you're giving donations to it and you're pulling random toys to pull from, but
you Lysol the crap out of that thing the second it comes out of the box. You just gotta delouse it. Ugh.
Yeah.
That was in someone's mouth like an hour ago for sure.
It makes me think though, where do all the toys that go? Like, I feel like the amount of toys that I've gotten, and I must give them all away, or like, but like, or maybe I just throw them out. But like, there have been so many children before my kid, and I think how much crap they've generated. Like, why? Like, is this all living in Goodwill, or has Goodwill said any kid toy, we'll just send it right to the trash? Because there must be hundreds of thousands of pounds locally every day. It should just go to a toy library or something, right?
I think there's way more landfills than you're aware of, and there's also way more children being born than you're aware of that get secondhand toys, right? Like, there's a lot of kids living with secondhand toys. My kids are playing with stuff that I played with when I was a kid, and I think that some of it is that, right?
Us too.
But a lot of it's garbage. It's garbage. Let's not walk around this topic that it's all plastic waste.
We should, break them down, throw it into my 3D printer network, and now we got plastic recycled,
melted down
Turn
into
it
PLA.
Spools of filament.
We'll melt them really hot, and then we'll clean our windshields with it.
It's full
circle. Yes, man. Yeah, I wonder too. Like, what's cool about your idea, Robbie, is that not only do they pull it off the shelf, it sounds like they're also putting a toy away. So like that is ingenious.
Yeah. It's a little bit of the monkey in the cage learning to like press the button to get a reward. Like, if I want to play with a new toy, I got to clean up this set and put it back away. You're like conditioning them to keep things clean, you know?
I didn't want to pitch it that way, but it is totally a psychological pick up your toys. You can use the awesome toy box if you pick up your toys.
Give a toy, take a toy, right? It's like,
well, it's not my rule. That's how the box works. You got to put the whole train set back into the box, otherwise it won't spit out a new fun thing to play with.
Right.
You're not the bad guy.
That's just how it goes. Sorry. Brilliant.
It would also teach your kids how to hack the system, because they would like keep the good toys outside the box and never put them away. So you'd be teaching your children probably nefarious activities, but
fill it full of shoes and stuff, trying to get it to spit out
just
their
Indiana
toys.
Jonesing it with a different object
you
similar.
You go to grab the recycling box, and it's all your clothes that they've thrown in there.
Who put a bag of pennies in
There's
here?
my wallet.
Yeah, right.
They're looking for that one toy, and they just go through all of them at once, and they're just like, nope. Oh, the toy's not in this. So I guess
that's true.
Yeah.
Throw off all the
The
data.
algorithm could account for that.
That's true. You can only do like 3 toys an hour. Just it locks, right?
There's got to be the like optimization algorithms out there where I don't know. How do you, it's sorting algorithms. How do you take this list of things and put them in order of most favorite to least favorite? You got to like throw some ones that you think might be duds out there, mix them in with the ones that are classics that are always a big hit, you know?
Yeah, there's got to be a way to like force rank them too. If you like have 2 toys, like put the one you don't want back. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to do it.
How many times is something repeat dispensed before it like loses its veneer and shelf life? And there's so much interesting stats.
I like the Pandora method of like you get 3 downvotes, you know,
For
and
the
then
day.
like you're stuck with this toy if you don't like it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Russell, you're right. I fear that if you open up the recycling piece, it's going to have like the Brussels sprouts you tried to get your kids to eat a month ago that they just shoved into a toy box.
Gotta check it regularly. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed yourself. And thank you so much, Robbie. Man, I'm going to be thinking about that all week now.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on. It was a fun time.
Dude, come back anytime. I hear you have more ideas. Our website is spitball.show. There you can find links to our YouTube channel. All you recent Google Podcast refugees, we've got ourselves on YouTube now. Other social media, follow us there. We're at spitball.show. Email us questions, feedback, ideas, things that we missed. Maybe the Toy Boss already exists and we didn't know about it. We're podcast@spitball.show. We'd love to hear about it. And that's also how you can follow us on the Fediverse, such as Mastodon. We're just podcast@spitball.show. Our subreddit is r/spitball show. Our intro-outro music is Swingers by Bonkers Beat Club. Please, if you wouldn't mind, especially on Spotify, YouTube, we'd love a 5-star review, subscribe, rate, leave comments, wherever you are listening to us right now. If there's a button next to the name Spitball, please press it. That would really help other people find the show. New episode is coming out in 2 weeks. We will see you then.